Welcome to Beyond the NFT. Tonight we're diving into the future of Decentraland's governance with 3 exceptional DAO Counsel Candidates. First, we have Monotributista, a software engineer veteran who has been shaping Decentraland since the 2017 land auction days, contributing to the marketplace, Creator Hub, and more. They are ready to bring their technical expertise and long-term vision to the Decentraland DAO. Next, we have Mariana, a finance powerhouse with an MBA in accounting, deeply embedded in the Decentraland community since 2021, and is passionate about transparent treasury management. As the Ohio chapter president for Stand with Crypto, she is connected across the Web3 ecosystem and ready to drive growth for the Decentraland DAO. And finally, we have Carl Fravel, a 40-year tech and entrepreneur trailblazer who founded the Decentraland Conference Center and Chessland, bringing millions in fundraising experience and creator-focused vision to drive traffic and innovation. Let's get ready for a dynamic conversation about Decentraland's next chapter. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go beyond the NFT. How was my intro, guys?
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.
This is usually where everyone would clap, but we're in the metaverse, so we don't get any clapping. Maybe one day Mean Green Doge can program some clapping for me. So it is definitely a great pleasure and honor to have all 3 of you here for Beyond the NFT. 2 of you have been my guests in previous episodes or DAO committee candidate episodes, like we've had discussions like we've had in the past. So I just want to thank you all for being here. I want to start with Mono. I want to pass the mic over to you. And Jerk just made the joke about Chessland instead of Chessland. I hate my English. But I wanted to pass it to Mono. Just give you the opportunity to introduce yourself, tell everyone a little bit about who you are, what you have done within the ecosystem, and yeah, whatever else you would like to share. The mic is yours.
Okay, thank you, Sinful. Glad to be here. So my name is, or I go by Monotributista, which you can just call me Mono, because I know it's tricky for the maybe non-English speaking people. Many people ask me what does it mean, and the meaning is a bit specific for Argentina, I guess, but a simplified way of going around it, it's like a taxpayer or something like that. Because in Argentina, most of the people who work on crypto usually fall into this type of tax tier. I don't know, so it's like a common word in the Argentinian crypto lingo, I guess. So you can just go by Mono, and that's fine. And well, I've been around the Decentraland since 2017, a bit after the ICO. I met Esteban and Ari. They were making in the middle of making the first teams, starting to build the project. And I think it was around the Terraform, when people were locking their mana in order for the upcoming auction and for creating the districts. So it was around that time. And yeah, blockchain was new to me back then. So I started learning a lot, and I started working on dApps because I come from the web development world. So I have no game development experience, so like Unity and all that kind of stuff, it's not my cup of tea. But yeah, I've been working on everything that it's not the client. Pretty much all the dApps, servers, and everything. At least at some point, I probably had to put some code in there. And yeah, I've been and as of February this year, I decided it was time to close the chapter after like a little over 7 years working at the project. But well, I still have tons of friends, and I meet a lot of people from the community, so I like to stay in the loop. And since I saw this opportunity, this opening on the council, I thought that it was if I could get the seat, it would be a great way of staying in the loop and staying in touch with everybody. And yeah, I think I can bring something to the project. Like all these years of experience, I think can help me to give something back, at least.
I just realized my mic was muted. That is awesome, and thank you, Mono, for kicking off tonight's show with your intro. We will pass it over to Mariana for some words of wisdom or maybe encouragement. It's funny, Mono Tributista stands for taxpayer because we're segueing into Mariana, and one of her biggest tips is pay your taxes.
Yeah, that's funny. Actually, yeah, I had a pleasure of meeting Mono in Argentina. I always thought like HP was Mono, even though he told me that he's not. And he's like, no, he's in Argentina. So yeah, really cool guy, guys. But
yeah, when I started using this identity, I guess, like because I started using the Monotributista name maybe 2 years ago, and back then a lot of people asked me who I was, like if I was like HP was one of them several times. Some people asked me if I was Esteban or if I was Yemel. Until I think it was on the community. How was it called? The community summit, that I met everybody there, and I guess that's when the mask came off. And
Mono is a real person, guys. But yeah, I don't know what to say.
Oh, come on, Mariana. Tell us about all the great things. I mean, you've been up to. It seems like every time I have you on the show, you're up to something new, either like trailblazing a new like aspect. I mean, stand with crypto. Holy crap, that's a big like step.
Yeah, that's been the main thing. I mean, yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Mariana. Same thing. I've been here in the community since 2021. I like the main things I've been kind of taking my time or so during these days. A lot of stand with crypto governmental legislation talks, I guess. So like in Ohio specifically, like we're trying to we've been meeting up with like the Treasury office, trying to figure out how to get Ohio to use stable coins. We've been talking with like the electrical grid and how to improve that. So I've been involved in a lot of like Ohio Treasury / Bitcoin mining talks, which has been pretty cool. Kind of being involved in like that, I don't know what the word is, involvement with the upcoming like Genius Act. So yeah, I've been pretty much doing that on the side after like on top of my other job. And then so I do like full-time financial reporting on the daily. I've been busy with that. Trying to go full-time actually in crypto. So I come from like an auditing background, everyone. So like I'm trying to get back into like my auditing life. But trying to think. And then yeah, I've been studying for my CPA the last like forever actually. So I'm like yeah, so I'm like in the final step of finishing my CPA. So I've just been like I've kind of had to like put the Decentraland like a little bit on the side the last few months. So, but yeah, I'm definitely trying to get my CPA to kind of continue my like auditing and financial reporting in like a blockchain sense. So like there's right now like a huge gap in like crypto accountants, you know, in the space. And as like the Genius Act comes out with more requirements with like proof of reserves, there's gonna be like more need for that. So I'm trying to gear myself up for that. But yeah, so I've kind of been trying to like stay involved in like different communities. So like Stand with Crypto has like allowed me to like work with lots of, you know, different crypto projects, platforms, anyone who like handling pretty much like partnerships and discussions with like the ledgers and the Coinbases, which has been really cool to see what they're doing, what they're working on. So it's been very cool behind the scenes of just having these kind of like daily interactions with various new companies every single day, from like a legislation perspective, a financial reporting perspective, and how, just like a future product development perspective. So yeah, I've been busy. But I guess sorry, like to bring it back to like the council, it's I feel like like I'm no tech bro when it comes to like programming and stuff, but definitely I know what's going on from like a governmental and like financial reporting perspective, and I feel like it'd be cool to bring more of that experience to the council / project and see how we could kind of get ahead of some future potential like crypto legislation, and just making sure like making sure that DAO is appealable to other people or other projects from like a financial reporting perspective. So I'm gonna shut up for now.
Man, you started off with I don't know what to say, and then just started saying all the fire things you've been up to. I mean, crypto legislation, being like involved in it, or even just being around it and knowing what's happening is very, it's a very cool thing. So
cool.
yeah,
it cool knowing what the state is going to issue.
Yes. you might be, some say you might be able to spot catastrophe before it happens, maybe.
Yeah.
But so thank you, Mariana, and I'll pass it over to Carl. Take it away. Feel free to share any info about yourself. I know you've been here. You were here last Beyond the NFT, or I mean last DAO Council Beyond the NFT, and you kind of gave us an insight on a little bit of who you are, what you've done. But I request for the insight again, please, just for all the new viewers.
Thanks. So my background has been for a long time at the junction between technology and, I would say, the arts or media, both music and in 3D work. I came to New Orleans to take a job as VP of Engineering at TurboSquid. Some of you will know that that's kind of the high-end 3D marketplace that's actually in New Orleans. Got bought by Shutterfly. I joined my first kind of virtual world experience in 2009 by becoming very active in Second Life. And when Linden Labs created Sansar, which didn't succeed, I would say, but I built scenes there early on during the beta and published a book on how to build virtual experiences. I was introduced to Ari and Esteban in 2017 summer before the white sale, and participated very actively in the early consultation with them about what they wanted to do that was similar to other virtual worlds and what they wanted to do different. And I put quite a good-sized purse into the auction. I contributed to 9 districts and also acquired a fair amount of private land. I started building prototypes for the conference center in Etheria back when the technology was A-frame. It has gone through many changes since then, but I actually had a prototype for each of those districts in 2018, and had the conference center largely functional by the time the world went live in 2020. I've deployed scores of scenes. I haven't ever worked for the foundation, but I've been a very active builder of scenes and content and technologies, and including collaborating with other folks, some of whom are here, in making scenes by providing technology for them. And my traffic monitoring system shows I just crossed north of 1 million visits to my scenes since 2020. So I represent, well, you'd say the US point of view as a part of an international community, but also the perspective of, a very active builder on land and teacher of other people how to do that. And then recently, I've started just about a year ago, started the Chessland builds in the conference center. There's a dozen chess tables there that are fully functional. We run tournaments once a month. And trying to really focus on activities that will bring people back again and again, what I'd call sticky experiences. The music festivals in the conference center, the chess tournaments, and play in the Chessland scenes, etc. So I think that a really important thing is figuring out how to assist scene developers to make things that will bring people in and build communities. I really appreciate the communities feature that's forthcoming. We have needed that. And so I certainly don't have any view to speak against the other candidates. They're very qualified. I just bring a little different set of experiences outside the foundation, inside the world of building for Decentraland. And on the council, if by chance people would like me to serve on it, I would focus on 2 things: ensuring a long-term successful world, and working for the right balance between centralization and decentralization of the management of the DAO and its treasury. So that's it.
Thank you, Carl. And I feel like tonight's conversation is very unique, or I mean, even this this voting round for the DAO Counsel Candidates. I feel like each candidate, for the most part, brings their own unique set of skills to the table here, and it's not like it's like, okay, we have 2 finance people, 2 builders, we have 2 experienced builders. We're very diverse here, like, or at least with with our options.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And once again, thank you all for your time. So I will bring it back to Mono. Tonight I have composed a set of questions for each of you, 5 questions, and if the questions aren't too intense, please feel free to say skip. All right, Mono, are you there?
Sure. I'll do my best.
Don't worry. They might be easy questions. They might not. I have yet to test them out. But here we go. A live test. You've been in Decentraland since 2017, contributing to major projects like the Land Manager, Marketplace V2, and the Creator Hub. How do you think your hands-on technical experience can shape the Decentraland, the DAO's governance decisions, especially when evaluating proposals that involve infrastructure or creator tools?
Well, I think I have a deep knowledge on how many things, many parts of the Decentraland work, of the Decentraland protocol, of the catalysts, of the SDK, and the smart contracts. So if there are changes that need to be made, for instance, I know that there are some legacy things that the DAO might at some point want to migrate or to improve. For instance, I don't know if you remember the what was it called, the Aragon DAO was the well, we are still using parts of that was the first DAO that we had. It was an Aragon DAO, which was super expensive to use and super complicated, so eventually it was abandoned, but it's still the owner of most of the contracts, like the land contract, and I think Mana doesn't have an owner, but still it's part of the system. If at some point those things need to be touched, they are they're critical pieces of the protocol, but so I think in that regard, that's where maybe my knowledge can be more useful. Then for stuff around the products, I don't know how much does the DAO impact, but if there's a proposal for some feature, maybe I can advise on the technical stuff. Also, if it's feasible, if that's maybe the correct approach or not, or if there's an easier or a better way to approach certain features. I don't know. Like on the technical side, I think I have a lot of input that can be useful. And then another thing is that for the last 4 years, I've been working very closely with that my last 3 or 4 years at the foundation, I was working very close to the finance team. So, like, if at some point this is something that I would really like to see, if it's not done by me, then by somebody else, but to do something with the treasury, because the DAO has a huge treasury that it hasn't touched for a long time, or not maybe in the way that the foundation has, because it has more I don't know, it's easier for it to act on it and to take decisions than for the DAO, and that made the DAO to just mostly do nothing with it, and I think that was a lost, that there were like things that could have been done to improve the token, especially on chain, like to have a healthier token on chain. At some point, there were many platforms that were listing Mana as a valid collateral, for instance, for loans, which was very cool. And there was deeper liquidity on pools if you wanted to trade Mana. And through the years, this has the liquidity has dried up. Due to that, many platforms have delisted the token, and that's something that I would like to see it reversed. Like at some point, we were like a very, very important token. Like we were everywhere, and we kind of lost that. So, and I think I can maybe help also on that front, besides the technical stuff. Also on the, I don't know, it's not like a financial thing, mostly maybe having the know-how on how to approach other platforms to help us like list Mana again, or how to improve the health of the token on chain, like having deeper liquidity, having it listed on lending platforms. At some point I was very close to the maker team, and actually Mana was one of the first tokens that they allowed, like outside of ETH and wrapped Bitcoin, as collateral. And well, since then, like for the last couple of years, we lost all of those connections, and the token lost a lot of relevance. So that's something that I would like to improve or to work on if I can.
Oh, my apologies. Wow. Have I been... Oh, okay, never mind. I'm so sorry. I was saying that that Aaron Loop has a question, but I can't seem to decipher it. So I'm gonna use the lovely toxic waifu here, who is sitting in the chat with us tonight, as a co-host. And could you just like any questions that you see within the chats, could you gather them, and maybe like at some point we could touch on those questions, Toxic?
Awesome. I'm gonna do this.
Thank you.
Just let me know when you need them.
Thank you so much. I know this is like very, very last minute, but if you just see any, like, yeah, just throw them up. Thank you.
The one by Praetor, is it?
Let's see, Praetor, Mono. How are you invested in the Decentraland's long-term growth? Like, do you own land or mana?
Yeah, I do own both. I used to be a huge mana holder. Now not so much. But to be transparent, yeah, I at least over 150,000 tokens I have left, and over 10 lands, maybe something like that. If that.
Nice.
The question.
Thank you. My questions were nuts. I was reading Rustan's comment out loud. He was saying, my questions were not serious. Don't ask them. He was asking all sorts of good questions. I don't know if you've been paying attention in World. Okay, let's see. I guess I can, while Toxic is gathering some questions, I can move into my second question, which is kind of like falls into like long-term sustainability. You know, in our DAO, you can go to the Decentraland DAO homepage and then click on the transparency button. And in the last month, it shows clear as day, you know, 9,000 USD like in profits, but the DAO also has about 21,000 in monthly expenses. You know, like anyone that looks at this kind of starts asking questions, and even like starts to wonder, like, how can we turn this around? So I guess my next question would be, having worked closely with the Foundation's finance team on treasury management, what strategies would you what strategies would you propose to ensure that the DAO's resources are used effectively to balance immediate community needs with long-term sustainability?
I mean, what the Foundation did at some point was exchanging some mana tokens for like fiat or stablecoins in this case. I mean that's what the DAO could do, and put it to work to generate some, just at least to offset some of the costs. And something that was possible to do before, which now I think it's not, like it would require some political action maybe to like go and engage with other platforms, was to list mana as a collateral, which allowed us to borrow stable if we can get like a good deal for stablecoins, and use that to, for instance, provide liquidity, like to pair mana to other tokens on chain, like mana against ETH, for instance, or mana against some stablecoin. That helps the health of the token. Like if people see the token, there's no liquidity, they don't want to list it as a collateral, because it's not a good collateral if it's not liquid. So those are things that can be improved, and then put some of the of the like not being 100% on mana token, because you still have expenses, right? So you have to sell them every month. If you sell a little more and you put it to work, you can instead of just just sell forever, you can generate some yield on top of the stable coins. You have to offset that, and that doesn't mean go and sell a lot of tokens, but like just having some healthier proportion. Because in the end, if you don't, you end up selling them anyway, because expenses exist and you have to pay them. It's just if you're gonna sell it every month, or if you maybe, I don't know, budget a year of expenses and put that to work, and that can offset some of that year's expenses. Those are simple things that you can do to offset some of the costs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think better than selling was when we were able to like borrow against it, and that's something that maybe today is not possible, and that would require going back and forth with some of the platforms.
I see. Yeah, so you would find kind of in a way propose ways to diversify the portfolio, which it kind of touched point on. I was having conversations with community members earlier this week, and like I mentioned, we were in the DAO transparency section, and we were looking at like how much ETH we have, how much other token we have, even just stable. Kind of like, we see that the mana holdings definitely outweigh all the other holdings by large percentages. So I'm gonna bring out a community question, which Toxic, I know that you wrote down. It is a old guy's question, and I will be asking this question to all three candidates that we have here, because it's a very good question. Okay, old guy's question. Is this a business or a game?
That's a good question. I guess, it's a game, but there's bills to pay, and there's real money involved. There's people who work full time here, so yeah, it's a business. In the end, it's a business. And so we kind of have to start treating it a bit like it. It doesn't stop being a game because of it. But I don't know. I just think it's more efficient to start thinking of it as a business for the DAO, or at least, yeah. Just how would you manage these resources if they were yours, maybe? Or if how does a business treat its resources? Because I don't think it's the way that the DAO has been doing it since its inception, basically. Like, I know that that's not how I would treat my own money, and I think a company wouldn't also treat its own treasury like this, just like not taking advantage of it. To at least offset some of its own costs.
Yes. Thank you. And Toxic, I'll let you open up the mic to ask any other question that you have gathered.
Yeah, thank you. So we have a question from Aaron Loeb. Can he, Mono-T, make it where they enact things too in the DAO? That would have solved the Maroras issue. And then he's elaborating on that. Maroras left because the DAO team would not enact contracts even when the community voted yes on them. Could help to make it fair. I hope this was understandable.
I almost feel like there's like I don't know, because like let's reference back WTF Decentraland on Tuesday. HP kind of came up and kind of said an explanation in a way, But I also feel like HP also tends to leave out details. But so like, I feel like I will let Mono answer definitely if you have an answer. I will be quiet now. Go ahead, Mono.
What was the question again? Like, could you repeat it because I
Yes,
couldn't
of course.
hear Toxic. Yeah.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Now it's better.
Awesome. So I think Aaron's question came up when you talked about how you have much knowledge, also technical knowledge, and I think his question was regarding to this what you said, and he was asking if you could enact things too in the DAO. And I think he means on a technical level, but Aaron Leib, if you hear us, please, if you would like to elaborate on this, let us know. But right now, I think the question is, if you, Monetary Batista, could you technically implement solutions when they are needed for the council? I think this is kind of the question right now.
I think, like, if the question is if I'm going to be the one implementing them, that's probably not how it's going to work. Like, as I understand, the execution arm of the DAO, it's this opco that they are forming, which already has a CEO and a CTO, and they are starting building the teams, as far as I understand, and they would be the ones basically developing, like writing code. Like, I wouldn't be on a daily basis coding for the DAO, if that's the question. Like, I could help reviewing code, I could help advising on on a proposal before even having to start coding. But then once the proposal is shaped up, like the execution arm is the one that would make it happen, I guess. I don't know if that was the question or if I got it.
I think this was the right answer, because I think this question is we need to answer this on a different level. I think even if Monetary Batista would have the technical skills to do so, the question is the council allowed to do it, and stuff like this. But thank you very much for your answer, Monetary Batista. Sinful, if it's okay, I would read the next question. Okay, so next question is from Freighter before we go to Risk, who has many very, very valid questions. But let's start with Freighter. Is there any strategy our panel has that the current DAO members are not implementing? What will they do differently? So I think the question for you guys is, do you see anything in the council happening right now, what they are supposed to do, what they are not doing right now? And maybe what would the first thing be that you would like to see implemented from now on, or when you would be in that council?
Yeah, as I said, I think the one thing I would like to work on, that I know it's something that from what I've spoken with other council members that they want to see, it's some sort of framework for treasury management. So like lay down some sort of strategy around that, and which so far I think this is something that it's not happening right now. And also, I mean, from the technical point of view, I don't know what's needed, to be honest, other than from conversations that I had, it's like regarding this, what to do with this very outdated pieces of the DAO, like the Aragon DAO. So maybe if something wants to be done around that, I could give a hand there. But I don't know if it's something very urgent. I think the treasury management is something that maybe it's more of a priority.
thank you very much for that answer. Mariana Calfrado, would one of you like to answer what is something that the council currently is supposed to do but isn't doing, and what would be the first thing that you would do?
Yeah, I guess I can go first. Well, I mean, there's obviously still a weird communication, like maybe like what's the word? Sorry, I'm like sleep. I just like woke up from a nap not that long ago. There's like this like community communication with, or I'm sorry, there's like a disconnect between the foundation, the council, and the DAO still. And even though like this council got created, I still feel like there's not enough accountability across the board. Like I feel like everyone is still working siloed right now. So I want to figure out how all three of them could be aligned again. From like the council maybe not holding the OPCO. Like I feel like the council needs to hold the OPCO more responsible. I don't know, and I know everyone's trying to figure it out right now with like the right dynamic, and then figuring out how to come talk back to the foundation. But for me as a community person and like a person in the platform, I try to keep up with the DAO, with the forums, but I still feel like there's like this like quiet mystery going on between who the council is talking to, what Gino's doing, what the foundation is doing to like help Gino, or like what's like there's just so many questions that I have from that aspect. From the financial perspective also, I don't know what the foundation is doing with their money, with how they're going to maybe pair that with the DAO's finances. Like I always talk about double spending all the time, and I'm still kind of nervous that's going to happen, and I just want to make sure that the council holds the OPCO responsible to make sure that they don't spend money that the foundation's already spending money on. But then also I hope the DAO Council can make sure that the OPCO's reporting is more transparent. I've been MIA the last few months because of my with just work in CPA, or else I would have done it months ago and helped. But I haven't heard anything, and it kind of makes me kind of nervous. Like I wish I was more in the know of what's going on, just because I have more of like the financial reporting experience to help. But I'm kind of saddened that I haven't been able to help. From like they haven't kind of kept me in the loop either. So I kind of want to just see someone in the council, you know, be able to push the hard finance questions to both, to pretty much OPCO to get answers from either whether it's the foundation or pretty much like making sure like, hey, OPCO, to let us know, we really need to see reports. Like I think I saw like Risk's question somewhere in the chat. There hasn't been any. I feel like the council hasn't been pushing OPCO hard enough to provide more transparency in like the spending, and I it's kind of concerning, and or even like a future plan. Like I really want to see what future costs that they're trying to even do in the next 3 months. The fact that we don't even have like a projection, I don't know. Like no one knows what's going on, and no one's holding no one accountable, I guess. And I know like the treasury management piece is such a huge concern, and I wish I also knew what was going on. I know I've kind of recommended a few companies to like the OPCO, and then of course there's like different, and I agree with Mano on this about the pretty much like getting yield and being more involved in some liquidity pooling, and even like back to like the whole business thing. Like sure, there's like revenue that could be made from internal like our our platform, but then we really got to get more into like the investments and providing Mana as like pretty much lending mana pretty much. And unfortunately, I feel like there's still no one on the council or OpCo being like that business developer guy or partnership person going to these companies and, rooting for mana to be this pool. Like, there's so many, Sky Capital or MakerDAO, like, they're not that hard to get a hold of. Aave, there's people at Aave that it's not hard to get a hold of them, but there's no one taking that responsibility from like our investment relations perspective to make those relationships to position mana. Like I would have thought like someone at the foundation would be doing this, but we haven't seen anything on that front. Or I don't want to like speak on the finance team at foundation, maybe they are, who knows. But I would say the council should also have someone in the DAO, or appoint someone in the DAO to be more of an investment relations contact and go out to these lending companies. Like it's, just from my experience with Stay with Crypto, it's not that hard to get in contact with people, is what I've learned. Actually, it's the easiest thing. And I feel like there's been excuses as to why the treasury management is moving so slow, and it's just because there's no one taking the responsibility and delegation to do it, and then there's no one holding that person responsible. And I know there's a lot of moving things and everyone's trying to figure it out, but I'm sorry, I'm just like ranting because I'm just whatever. But I hope the council I just hope the council can push more pressure to get it all done and having better, even like the council. I want to see the council actually like be more proactive and do more than just the management. Like they need to go out and make those relationships outside.
Thank you for your TED Talk, Mariana. And I mean, this has been an amazing question. And I want to pass it over to Carl for his thoughts on the question. Would you like for Toxic to repeat it?
I was having a hard time hearing her because her voice is so much softer than everybody else's. Can you summarize the question?
Sorry, I hope you can hear me good. I'm not on my...
If I turn it up, I can hear you. Okay, go ahead.
Very good. Sorry, I'm not on my usual stream setup. So, okay, the question was by Prater, and he is asking, is there any strategy or panel that has the current DAO members are not implementing? What will they do differently? So the question is the council anything doing right now, or better, not doing right now, what they are supposed to be doing? And what would be the first thing that you would, do from now on? Sorry, simple. I hope this was understandable.
Yeah, thank you. There's clearly a sense in the community that the community doesn't understand what's going on in the DAO. Like, there's not enough transparency. There have been requests for dashboards, for more reporting, for more understanding of why large amounts of money are being transferred to an individual. I mean, there's a lot of questions like that that I think people don't know the answers, and they don't know how to get those answers. So I think that's a key thing. It could be that what's going on is just wonderful, or it could be that it's corrupt and bizarre, and we just don't know. So I think that's, making it so that the community has really good visibility into this is, I'm going to back up a step. When the two entities were created, the foundation and the DAO, I would think the foundation got a mandate that was pretty clear. Create a platform, manage the IP, make this thing work, right? Create good tooling. I think the mandate for the DAO was more like, have a decentralized way of managing this much money for the benefit of the community, right? And DAOs are a relatively recent experiment. There's a sense that it should be totally decentralized, but that's impractical. I don't think there is any DAOs out there that have no centralized functions. And treasury management, strategic planning, what are we going to do in what order? How are we going to survive the end of the vesting contract? What's the financial structure of the on an ongoing basis beyond about 4 years from now? So these are things that I'm hoping that the council's mandate to oversee and require certain things from the executive function will make those things come into focus soon. We have a fuse here, right? In terms of the management of the treasury, since grants have been stopped, there's probably accumulating some sort. I mean, maybe it's visible on the charts and things, but some vested but unspent capital. And over the next 4 years or so, it might be wise to turn some of that into effectively an endowment for the DAO, so that it just doesn't run out of money at the end of the time, but it actually has a long-term investment revenue stream. So those are some of my thoughts.
Thank you, Carl. Man, these community questions have been pretty fire, so I'm gonna come back to my lovely co-host, official, unofficial, lovely co-host, Toxic Waifu, for the next question.
Hello. Okay, so if you found the questions that we had already as spicy, then please everyone prepare for Risk question. Because for everyone who doesn't know, Risk has raised some serious concerns and questions in the DAO Discord general. Everyone can read them there. And I think he has some questions he would like to ask the council applicants. So I will start with the first one. Coming from Risk, will you commit to ensuring that no single individual can ever have unilateral control over DAO funds? And maybe if we have Mariana, would you like to answer this? And then we go from Carl to Montreal.
Okay, so the question is, sorry, Toxic, you're also kind of low on my end. The question is oh, you're good. So you're asking how to make sure that one person does not have too much control of too much money at one time. Is that the question?
I think so, yes.
Okay. I guess it could be kind of, maybe Gino has a reason for it, or whoever, I think it was Gino, right? Maybe there's a reason for it, and then it just needs to be documented. I don't know, stuff like this would have to be like a huge disclosure to the community. Like if he did it like ahead of time, like, hey guys, by the way, like I need to get this 1.3 million transfer because whatever reason I have to handle it myself. Like in the real world, like companies have to file these reports to kind of warn their investors, like, oh, by the way, we're doing this, or this is about to happen. And maybe that's why there's like a confusion, like maybe there was no clear communication as to why that happened. And so maybe that's like the first step, is just getting documentation as to what was the business purpose of that and what is going to happen with that money. Maybe I can see that being like a solution, and just kind of holding the opco or whatever outside spending. I guess maybe, sorry, I'm just like thinking out loud with my experience. So you could, maybe there's like a requirement that any spend over X dollars, like at work, if we spend more than whatever $50,000 or whatever, we have to like document what that's being used for. So maybe like the council having, or the council in general has to kind of audit opco as they go along with their like, yeah, they approved the budget, but they haven't approved many or haven't been seeing more of the transactions. So I think the council needs to review and really review these multi-sig transactions or whatever, out of account transactions, and really approve them and kind of provide documentation. Because right now it sounds like there's not enough documentation or heads up as to why these transfers are going out. And I understand Risk's concern. There hasn't been any clear documentation from either the OPCO, or then the council is not really pushing Gino or the OPCO to provide that documentation. It's like, why isn't the council not providing this why isn't the council holding the OPCO responsible for this? So Yeah.
Thank you, Mariana.
Documentation. Sorry.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were finishing your thought, and you're like, "Come on, Simple, jump in."
But yeah, I guess like there shouldn't be a reason why one individual has 1.3 million mana or dollars without a reasoning. Like there has to be documentation. Like it just can't just happen.
Thank you. Anyone else want to take a crack at that question?
Yeah, I will. Mr. Carl.
Go ahead, Carl. Take it away.
I agree with Mariana. There's been a long history of companies that have to struggle with this between their shareholders and their board of directors and their CEO and the finance department about how to do this stuff. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. There's very good best practices for it. There needs to be a budget prepared on a periodic basis that says this is what we're planning to spend. This is how we might make some money, what revenue we might be looking for. This is how we're going to manage our balance sheet. And the council's responsibility, as I see it, is sort of like a board of directors in a corporation to say, yes, proceed, or no, you're fired, or no, go back to the drawing board and do it again. But there's a difference here in that has to also, I think, really be acceptable to the community through the DAO voting. It's going to slow things down some, but on the other hand, I think it will alleviate a lot of the question. If you publish a budget to, if the OPCO publishes a budget to the council reviews it, says this makes no sense, go back to the drawing board and come back. When the council thinks it's in good shape, then the council is responsible, according to its mandate, to make sure that gets published to the community for, well, right now I think it's for veto or not. We might want to revisit that to actually have something more like an approval, instead of kind of like if people didn't notice it, it just happens. And then in terms of the management of that money, a CEO of a company doesn't have a personal checkbook with millions of dollars in it for the budget. It exists in a functioning finance system for the organization, in which there's have to be, in many cases, 2 signatures to make something large happen. People have certain spending authorities. That kind of stuff is well worked out in businesses, and I think we just need to adopt it. So that's my thought on that. Oh, by the way, there was a question a while ago that I thought was profoundly important, which is this a game or a business?
Yes, please go ahead and take a crack. Yes, of course. Take a crack at it.
So I want to parse apart this. There's lots of thises here. There's the foundation. There's the DAO as an organization, and there's a lot of what I would call land management entities that may own land or operate land in Decentraland. Some of them are large. Some of them are individual folks. Decentraland, if we're talking about Decentraland as a whole, it's not a game. It's a platform. It's a community. It's a place where you can implement a game. It's not an ideal game platform because of some of the things we wanted to have in it, like being able to go from one person's land to another. You can't really do that in a high performance game. But I would say what we have is a virtual world that's populated by various communities of interest. And the foundation, I think, functions reasonably well as a business. It doesn't have an income source that's strong compared to having a strong, vesting schedule for the next several years. So it also needs to figure out how to perpetuate itself into the future, or open the whole thing up to a truly decentralized infrastructure, which it isn't quite today. In terms of the DAO has to figure out its identity. Is it a grant organization? That was originally, I think the original image was that this is half the money of the fundraising that wasn't burnt goes to the community to sponsor projects that make the world valuable on top of what the foundation makes. In other words, scenes, content, experiences. But it couldn't figure out how to do that in a way that was had good accountability. The community was not happy with those results, and very understandably, most of them were probably a waste of money. So now it's trying to do something that brings a little more centralized strategy and vision into place, but it's got to fulfill that. It's got to make it really, like what I would see would be ideal is if somebody wants to make a proposal to get a grant from the DAO, that they can look at a strategic plan and say, okay, I'm going to make a proposal that is coherent with that, as opposed to the random stuff we were seeing before. So that then the community can vote yes or no on it based on whether they agree that it fits the strategy and the vision. So that's where I think the DAO needs to do a lot of work on identity and process. That's done. I'm done. Thanks.
I can definitely agree. Oh.
No, I was just gonna say that's definitely a good follow-up question, Carl, because I think they're working on that, or they disclosed that they would be working on figuring out what the next new grant system within the OPCO would be. So that might have to be like a town hall question, to be honest. But it's a very important question.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Yeah.
And I was going to kind of throw in there that I'm just going to
say one more thing. As a person who's really active in Decentraland, maybe if I were to go digging, I would kind of find that what the status of that is, but it's not just really obvious, right? And I think that's part of the problem that needs to be solved. It may be great, but I think in general the community has too little visibility into kind of where it's going and how it's developing, and what the tough questions are and things like that the community can provide input to and reaction to. Sorry, I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, no worries. And I was just saying that you mentioned that the DAO has an identity problem. It needs to find its identity, but in all reality, I think it goes even deeper. I think the Decentraland as a platform has some soul searching to do, and has to kind of find their identity in its own way as well. Just wanted to add that and pass it over to Mono. Oh, go ahead before we pass it over to Mono.
No, I just want to say thank you, Toxic, for sharing that link. Good, thank you.
All right. So the question was around how to enforce that the DAO funds are, not held by one single entity, right? One single person.
Yes, this is correct.
Okay, so I think that the model for it, as I understand it, that wants to be implemented, or at least this is how this is done in other places, is that so the part of the treasury, it's the budget for the OPCO, which is on a limited set of time, like for a year, let's say a yearly budget. They can use that as they see fit. So they of course should need to present a plan for it beforehand, like we are going to hire this many people, or we have already hired these people and we plan to hire this more, and why, and to back that claim for that budget. And once that's approved, they can use it as they see fit, and they can act fast. And the rest of the treasury, which should be the larger part, right? The OPCO should not have access to it, and also shouldn't be accessible by the council members unilaterally. Like they should be, I don't know, on a multi-sig, or the Aragon DAO to act as a multi-sig. And well, as I understand it, if there's a strategy to deploy some of those funds, those need to be presented by the council, and there's a period for the community to veto it, right? So they can't, even if they like I don't know the word in English, if they all get together to decide to steal the funds, they can't just everybody vote for it, and like the community has a week to veto that, right? I think that's a pretty sensible approach to it. And then for strategy, that just to put some example of it, that could be like, I don't know, having 12 months ahead of the budget already as like as a stable coins getting some yield or something like that to plan ahead, right? But not like just having some portion of the treasury already set for the future, so you can have some stability and you can project forward, right?
Thank you. Oh, go ahead. Did you finish your thought, or?
No, yeah, there was one thing that I would like to mention about something that was discussed earlier
Of course.
like contacting the lending platforms, for instance, or if there are channels of communications with those. There are plenty. I know from the foundation there are plenty of communication channels with lots of platforms, but the biggest problem is not that. It's not that there's no communication. The problem is with the token itself, that it's not healthy enough. There's not enough liquidity of mana on chain mostly. Right? Like there are good venues of liquidity, like Binance, for instance, for the token, but most lending platforms don't care about that. Like they care how much liquidity can you source on chain, and that's something that needs to be fixed in order to them to list your token. So that's why that's something that I would love to see fixed eventually.
Thank you. And let's see, I saw a comment here on Twitch by Dr. Drip. Can we just vote to hire all three of these individuals? Sounds like they would be a good team. And I agree, Dr. Drip. I agree. All right, Toxic, do you have any more community questions?
Yes, we have a few by Risk and by Old Guy, and we have many questions, and they are still dropping. So let's continue with Risk's next question. Will you commit to publishing a record of each council votes who voted yes, no in real time?
And whoever would like to answer first can unmute and take it a go. Give it a go.
Can you say it again? Like, is it asking, like, would we want to document our votes, or say it again?
Yes, I think this question is regarding to that the council already should publish the votes that they are doing, and right now this is not happening. So Risk is asking if you would commit to this, so commit to publishing a record of each council vote who voted yes and no in real time.
I mean, I would say yes. That's what I'm used to doing.
I guess in a way, like, we would need more details about like the inner workings of the council. Like, if it's like behind closed doors, they're like, if you tell anyone what you voted, we're gonna be mean to you or something like that, you know? Like, because like, why aren't they publishing their votes? And you know, I don't know.
I mean, the only thing that I can think of is
sorry.
like a security thing. Like, maybe no one wants to be linked from like a security measure. Like, oh yeah, this person voted yes, this person voted no. That's the only thing that I can think of. It's like a security issue. But I think when you're in a council like this, you kind of have to be held accountable for some things. But then also there's a layer of like sensitivity and confidentiality. Maybe there's a I don't know what kind of votes they've been doing so far, like, or what kind of topics, but maybe it's like a sensitive topic that doesn't require to have it disclosed. But I think
I would like to give some informations to this, if this is okay.
Yeah, please.
And if you can hear me. So for the proposal for establishing a council for the Decentraland DAO was stated, publishing reports. The council will publish regular reports on the status of operations and the treasury, outlining the contributions and decisions made by each member. I'm going to drop the link to this in World 2. So right now the council is supposed to do it, but they are not doing it. So I think Risk's question is kind of asking you if you would now be into that council. Would you hold this accountable and follow the rules that were made when the council got in power in the first place?
I mean, yes, There would have to be, yeah. The answer is yes. This kind of just goes back to maybe the idea of someone in the council holding everyone else accountable. Maybe there's not enough accountability within the council, or maybe there's something, to your point, like maybe there's something that's causing them to not post it, or yeah, I think it's just there's no accountability for that process, and yeah, maybe it's like a post. I don't know.
Definitely.
There has to be more pressure. Like there's no. I understand the confusion, or not even the confusion, but like the frustration between the community not being able to like get to the council to hold them accountable. Like who is going to be that person that holds people accountable? Go ahead, Simple. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I definitely agree with you. Like there needs to be pressure. Who's gonna hold the person?
Hey, Sinful.
Go ahead.
Are you running for the job?
Oh no. I
comment if I may.
Go for it.
Of course, we have to do what the council has to do what its mandate was from the original proposal. I think there's like a gap between. I mean, people think of the council as like running the organization. I don't think that's quite the way it was set up. It was set up to oversee the opco, the executive arm, and to hire the director, and to make sure that they perform well. But the mandate also talked about transparency in very specific ways, and I think that has to be done. There's personnel matters that need to be handled within the opco. Some of those could be pretty sensitive and probably not public. Maybe public to the council information, but the council is making decisions like, is this budget ready to be submitted to the community for approval, right? That's not a sensitive matter. That people can say, and 3 people said yes and 2 people said no, and here's why. So yes, I think that the council needs to be squeaky clean about meeting the terms of the original proposal, and not just be kind of gradually sort of like running the organization, because that's not its mandate. Its mandate is not to be the CEO of the DAO. The mandate is to be a little bit more like a board of directors, but a board of directors that's very, very responsible to its stakeholders, the community, by being transparent with them in a way that boards of directors aren't from day to day or week to week. So it's a little different. And so the answer is, yeah, why not?
Yeah, I agree, Carl. And kind of going back to the basic functions, like board of director minutes, they document all that, like who's saying, who's agreeing with what, who's disagreeing, like that's all documented. So
yeah, without that, you wouldn't know that you wanted to vote a particular person off because they're always, they're not doing a good job. They're not showing up. They're creating problems within the council. Their opinions are really inconsistent with what the DAO wants. You wouldn't know that unless you had some fairly specific details from decision making. But also, the council should not be making day-to-day operational decisions, some of which would be confidential because they're personnel matters, right? They don't do the personnel. If you look at that chart, the executive director is overseeing that, right? And the executive director can make sure that personnel confidentiality matters, like we're going to let this person go, but we're not going to publish to the world what they did or didn't do, right? That's embarrassing and unnecessary. So I think that what the council is mandated to do, it's not that sensitive. It should be transparent. I'm done.
I struggle to find like how would the council be voting so often on stuff, like for the question to be like publishing record of votes in real time. Like for instance, the budget is one of the things the council has to vote on, and of course that like why not post who voted yes or no? I don't see why. Then I don't know, maybe the council is the one that can like remove the CEO if it's not working well. Well, if that process happens, it should be transparent, and then you should say who's voting and why. So, But then I don't think the council should be on a day-to-day basis voting on stuff. So I struggle to see which are these votes that Risk is asking for.
Maybe I can help with that. I hope at least. So one truth is, if you haven't seen, Risk has put a very long message in the Decentraland DAO Discord, where he linked everything. He asked kind of similar questions there and linked all the proposals, all the documents that are relevant for this. I'm gonna post it one more time here in Word because right now his question is around the proposal for establishing a council for the Decentraland DAO. I'm putting it again here. And I think the point that is very interesting for him is publishing reports. I think it's kind of in the middle of the whole document. I'm going to post it one more time in Word 2, what is stated there, just to make it clear. I hope I make it clearer.
Oh, okay. Now, yeah, the like regular reports, that's something that should happen. I don't know how often. Like, I mean, it should probably be like on a regular basis and on some fixed interval. Maybe I don't see the real time part happening. But the like have some maybe quarterly reports or maybe more often. I don't know. Yeah, that should totally be done. And I thought that was happening. I didn't know that was being halted currently.
Thank you, Toxic.
We have some more questions.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I would try to make it a little bit faster this time, so I want to value your all time. So this is the last question, Maris. Will you support monthly public? Oh no, sorry, it's two more questions. So, will you support monthly public financial reports, including breakdowns of salaries, expenses, and transactions?
Go ahead, Mon. I see your mic is open.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's totally reasonable and what should happen. Like, I don't know if within the OPCO, like I think once the budget for the OPCO is approved, they should be able to use that money fast and as they see fit. But then having some like quarterly reports on what was that spent, like that does make sense. But then there's some I don't know, some privacy issues there, like saying this person is getting paid that much. I don't know about that for the OPCO. Then for the council members and that, yeah, sure. If there's, I mean, I think there's a fixed amount that is paid and that should be public. But yeah, you like reports of how much money is spent on hiring maybe, or on marketing, or on subscriptions to platform services, that stuff. It would be great to have it like maybe on a quarterly basis reported. I think that kind of level of reporting would be nice for the OPCO to have.
So that's a yes in support for Mono. Anyone else would like to open their mics and answer?
Yes. Again, there's very standard practices for profit and loss reporting by organizations, and they don't list the individual salaries of people, of course not. But they do list how much is being spent in that category overall. And monthly or quarterly, I don't know. But it should be regular, and it should be very transparent, available to everybody in the community that you know, through the DAO process. So, yes.
Mm-hmm. And even as you were saying that, Carl, Risk was saying you don't mention person's name, you mention the departments and engineers and salaries. So boom, you hit it right on the head there. And Mariana?
I mean, yeah, no, both of them kind of nailed that. Sorry, I was like, no, I agree with both of them, pretty much. And I was thinking about like it's almost September 3rd, or it's like almost September. Like technically, we should get like we should get like a quarterly, like a September financials. Like I think that should be something pushed in the next town hall, and I can definitely push it in the next meeting. But yeah, no, I definitely think there should be a quarterly report for the budget, because like I see the July status and stuff like on the forum, but that's more like operational and like, you know, more like, yeah, product driven with like those updates. But there's nothing about, or I know he mentioned like kind of like the swaps, but there's not like a section more so for like the specific spend. So yeah, I definitely think that there should be like a separate finance report outside of like this more operational report. So, but I do agree, we do gotta push the council, or someone has to push that accountability to get those reports published. But at the same time, no offense, but like Foundation hasn't posted anything in ever. Like I know, and this is kind of like a hot take, but like other foundations, like in other projects, Polygon, Arbitrum, for example, even Apes, they made their own financial reports for their spending. Their centralized, you know, entities, in the sense the Decentraland centralized they're a centralized foundation entity. I'm kind of saddened that they don't have a small internal investor foundation report. Like no one even knows what's going on in the foundation. And I brought this up actually at Lisbon, and I got kind of like a blank stare by the finance team. Like they're like, "Oh yeah, no, we don't have a report." So like if the foundation doesn't have a report, that's kind of setting like a bad trajectory, I guess. Like I feel like the DAO needs to kind of be better than the foundation and show that. But honestly, like if the foundation doesn't have a report, I feel like there could be, I'm nervous that the reporting part might fall loose and not be taken seriously because the foundation's not doing it. And maybe there's discussions like, oh, you don't have to say your line by line items because you guys are an opco. But I think if you want to be a gold standard as a crypto platform, you kind of have to issue these reports, because platforms, like, why invest in something that they don't know what their spend is? So.
Thank you, Mariana. All right, Toxic, any more questions?
Yes, we have questions by Old Guy. And the question from Old Guy is, what is the plan to increase the DAO funds that doesn't rely on the user? And he's also asking, what can we do to bring the builders back?
I'm sorry, what was the last part? To bring what back?
I'm so sorry. He is asking, what can we do to bring the builders back?
Yeah. Let me speak about that, because I am a builder. I have been doing this for quite a few years now, basically on my own pocket, right? I just happen to have been able to, especially until I retired recently, been able to fund it. You know, it's definitely expense to running the lands and scenes and activities that I run. What I would like to be able to do is monetize that, to figure out ways that I can, through subscriptions, through content sales, through advertising, as a land owner manager, generate income from that effort. I have some thoughts and strategies, but I was disappointed that the DAO voted down the idea of a platform-wide advertising solution. I know people don't love ads, but if you look at how money is actually made in many ways on platforms, this stuff is through advertising. A landowner should be able to put up billboards and get revenue from advertising using something that they didn't have to invent, but it's just kind of part of what's available. So there was a DAO proposal on that. It was voted down as like, well, there's not enough traffic to justify this. Well, of course, but on the other hand, if you started monetizing it, you could promote it, right? it's kind of a snowballing effect. So that's not the only way. There's also tickets to events and things like that. But between the DAO and the foundation, a better marketing effort needs to be done to attract new people and to encourage the current community to bring their friends along.
Thank you, Carl. Anyone else want to take a crack at the question?
Oh, let me say one thing about that. The foundation is about to release the new communities feature. I think we all should be very actively using that to attract our friends, family, coworkers, our networks to things in Decentraland. And that was build community, using that mechanism that they're now putting together. So I hope we all pay attention to that and use it.
Yeah, it's like a chicken and egg thing though, Carl, because a lot of people won't be able to access the Decentraland, so it kind of gets tricky. Like we want all these people in here, but people can't even download the client or get in. So that's like a whole other issue. So it's a big snowball of just issues. Of course, I understand. Like we need our advertising, of course, but if the advertisers can't even log in themselves or to even check out their banners, then I feel like they would be getting scammed because they can't even log in. Sorry, another hot take. Sorry.
No, it's okay. You're not wrong. I see some of that in people wanting to come and play chess. Most people are able to get in, but some people cannot. Most computers that people have nowadays can run Decentraland.
Yeah.
Well, Mano, I see you opened your mic.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we had some really great bursts of creators in the past. I think the biggest one was not with scenes, but with emotes and with wearables, and those things were monetizable, at least at some point, really in the beginning, 2021, 2022. It was there were a lot of content creators that were making money, and that feedback loop was amazing, and that brought a lot of people a lot of attention. So I'm with Carl also on that, figuring out a way to monetize the content for the creators. It's key, because I think with the wearables was something that did happen, and with land not so much. So I agree there. I don't know if I know how. I don't know if advertising is the key for it, but it's surely something that it's missing and something that should be worked on. But I don't know if I have the answer to that.
I'm aware that smart wearables are coming back soon. They're working on them now finally to get those working again. So that could create a better inventory. By the way, Second Life has this massive marketplace of hair and clothing and toys and tools and vehicles and weapons, and I think the last time they reported on it was $50 million that was taken out in 1 year by the creators by selling stuff. That could drive a lot of growth and activity and make the economics of the world work. So smart wearables coming back is a good thing.
Yeah. Also, I think ways to airdrop, but in world, on events, to give wearables to people was a great way of bringing people. At least at some point, some of the first events organized by the foundation, where the first wearables were given to people, people went crazy for them, and a lot of people used to it was a great way of bringing people, but it was hard to do that on your scene. The foundation had a whole team working on that, so maybe finding easier ways to allow people to do that on events.
An easier way for the infrastructure to keep the Chinese robots from taking everything in the first 5 minutes. That happens in my scenes a lot. that was silly. I'm not going to do that anymore because they're all being taken. The whole inventory is depleted about 2 minutes into the thing by bots from. So the platform, the underlying tech has to have some protections against that, and that's not impossible.
No, but it's not an easy problem to tackle. Yeah, the cyber resistance of the platform. But yeah, I agree.
All right. So in the list, Toxic, any other questions stand out to you? Or actually, have we gotten answers from all three candidates? Trying to think. Mariana, have you answered this last one?
I think so.
Okay, just making sure. Maybe.
We have one more question that kind of stands out to me. If it would be okay, I would just ask it.
Yeah, go for it.
So this one is also from Old Guy, and he's asking, should we look at the way the voting power works in Decentraland, or should we let the whales be able to control?
I think the current tech structure gives less power to the whales than before. I mean, having the OPCO, the council, and all of that. But you will always have whales. I don't know. There's 200 million or billion mana tokens. I don't know how many other, and I don't know if there's an easy way to fix the problem of some entities having a lot of the token. But I think the current structure is better to prevent whales or groups of people controlling a huge stake and passing the proposals that they want that only benefits them, for instance. No, that's it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'd like to share my thoughts on Decentraland voting. I operate several districts, and I have never voted Decentraland. And the reason I haven't done it is because they would be huge, right? Land is really valuable in the voting, and districts are some of the largest landowners, maybe the largest landowners. So, I'm not saying I would never, in theory, ever use Decentraland for voting, but I would just hope that people who have a lot of land or a lot of mana are very conservative in their vote because they just overwhelm the voting process. You can see that in many of the proposals historically, that one large vote just determines the outcome. That doesn't feel like community to me. So I think it's not necessarily so much a enforcement mechanism. It's a cultural thing, right? You're always welcome to vote what you're able to vote, but consider whether or not it's important to you to overwhelm everybody else's vote in the community by using a gigantic vote. And this is like profoundly important to you, right? Something like that. It's an ethical thing in my mind.
Yes, definitely. District X definitely needs to listen to those words, Carl. Definitely does. Thank you. And Mariana?
I mean, yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out like the right way of phrasing this. And it sucks that so much like active VP, or like there's like Mano mentioned how there's like hundreds of millions of VP, but there's technically like only like what, like maybe less than 40 million VP that's really active, maybe, if that. So it's kind of frustrating when only like the active VP comes out. Like in reality, all the other 200 million mana is they're not going to come to the DAO. So then it kind of does suck when the active whales, maybe like back then were making all those decisions. But yeah, I kind of agree. Like the OPCO, if everything is structured right, the framework is right, it takes away the power from the whales to have to make big decisions. But at the same time, if the whales are, if there's a control of the OPCO with whales, then it's kind of, I don't know, like we're running into the same issue that they're voting in to enact some sort of structure that doesn't make sense. So I think we'll kind of even see this like in like the coming year, maybe once like the new OPCO year is updated. We'll have to see. I think there's gonna have to be like a reassessment or like a VP blessing for like the next round. So I think it only matters when whale VP influences how OPCO and DAO structures are going to operate, and I think that's what we need to be careful with, and kind of how Carl mentioned, like those are the kind of votes that could be very overwhelming for a structure. Like sure, it's important to hear their voices, but maybe there should be like a better maybe formula, like a better formula maybe with how the VP is kind of taken and generated, I guess, into a clear, conclusion, I guess. So, and I mean, we're not the only DAO that's dealing with this. I mean, we've seen other DAOs having the same issue of trying to figure out how to best deal with this, but everyone has kind of switched to like this OPCO, strategy. But like, I think everyone is still trying to figure out like that OPCO management. So, sorry, I'm just like rambling. We're still learning. Go ahead.
Oh
Carl,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, we're halfway through a vesting period and still learning how to do the basics. I do want to say that I think it's possible, I might be wrong on this, but it's possible that everybody that's been voted onto the council has been voted onto the council because of a gigantic whale vote by a particular individual. So that particular individual basically has established who the council is going to be. That probably is not ideal for the community.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of how it is. I mean, it's unfortunate. That's what it is. Like that, we can't deny that, Carl.
Same thing goes for the committee. I mean, 2/3.
I'm not necessarily saying. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say. I mean, same thing goes for the committee. 2/3 of it was voted by one whale. Voted in by one whale. So yeah. It's just the way that it seems like things get pushed through because it's I mean, I guess the current structures just don't allow for democracy, I guess, or I don't know, just for everyone to have their voice. Make is suggesting though, on the Twitch chat, he says, "Hang to earn VP." Man, that would be such a fun structure, but I think it could definitely be gamed very easily, just like a lot of things recently have been getting gamed, a lot of nice things. And Toxic, was that the last question we had from community?
I think we have one more question.
Oh wait,
Make and T.
Actually, I don't even know if Mono answered. Yeah, let's get back to Mono. I'm so sorry, Mono.
Oh, I mean, I don't know what was the last question, but I have something to add to what we were talking. Just
okay, so add on, and then we'll have Toxic repeat the question, or I could repeat it.
I was going to say only that I do agree with Carl that whales should be very cautious about voting because, yeah, like in this vote, one whale pretty much set the outcome. That's true. But I also just wanted to add that during the past 7 years, I met many whales. You don't know how many whales, like a lot of people who had tons of mana, and many of them decided that they preferred the cash and they left at some point. And now they don't have a say at all, and that was their choice. But the ones who stuck around and the ones who kept a huge stake did it to a huge personal cost, or because they do have conviction on the project. Like, what I'm saying is just that I think there are some whales that are bad for the system for sure. I think that happened a lot with the districts and the land voting. But there are some whales that are around that I know that they deeply care about the project. So I just want to say, like, I don't think all the wells are bad, which sometimes I think that's the consensus. Some of them are not. I think they deeply care about the project. But true that when a whale votes, like, kind of kills the like, defeats the purpose, I guess, of the having all this process and voting and everything if just one person then comes and decides. So that sucks. I guess.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I do have one more thing I want to add. I'm not proposing a change to the voting structure. And I also want to clear up that mana isn't the good guy and land is the bad guy. They're fungible. You can buy land, you can sell land, you can buy mana, you can sell. So somebody that is voting because of a lot of mana, that's because they bought a lot of mana or own a lot of mana. If they voting with land, that's because they not only got mana, but they used it to buy land and they have a deep commitment to the community. So, land already is undervalued in its VP power compared to the mana you would get by selling that land. So if you keep depreciating the amount of voting power land has, the people who care about land who just won't vote. People who care about voting will sell their land and therefore break the world. Depreciate the value of the world. So it's all one thing.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't mean when I said, especially with the land, that land is bad. Just maybe regarding the districts, there's shady stuff that happened before. It's maybe.
I'd like to talk to you about that privately sometime because I have deep experience with that particular.
Okay.
Yeah. People think Rob's a bad guy. Rob is a typical district leader who just has a big mouth. But all the district leaders own their land. It's like, that's just how land is. They're large landowners. The district entities are landowners. Did they own it for free? No, they owned it according to the very process that Decentraland set up. They did the steps, and there were a bunch of them that they had to do to be given land. Well, for example, the districts I'm in, I was the majority contributor in many cases. Almost all those cases.
Was Rob the majority contributor?
Rob was asked by Decentraland to run that district.
But what is he?
Because
the
original
majority?
founder You interrupted my answer.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Maybe this is not the venue for this. People have a really bad impression of Rob, but Rob hasn't really done anything more or less than what other district leaders have done. He just has been much more vocal early on about telling trolls to go away. That's really the only difference.
I mean, I think a lot more can be said. Definitely, this probably isn't the venue for that. Let's take a look here. See. Toxic, did we go through the questions? Actually, I thought I saw Rustan had like an off-topic question. It was pertaining to the roads in Vegas City. Asking, Carl, do you have any ownership in Vegas City?
Nope.
No? Okay. Well,
I stayed away from contributing to Vegas and to the red light district. Just for ethical reasons, not what I want to spend money on. Don't really want to be associated with those things. So.
I just want to quickly come in and say I would love to have a WTF episode about this. So, Carl, I'm going to slide in your DMs after this because this is a very interesting topic. Thank you all.
Yes. And thank you, Toxic, for backing me up here tonight. I mean, we've been going on for about almost 3 hours. I think it might be a good time to start winding down for the evening. So, I guess with that said, I'm going to pass it around the room for any final thoughts. We'll start to close down here for tonight. Let's start with Carl. Carl, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I'll be happy no matter which of the three of us are elected. I would be happy to serve the community if the community wants me to serve. If not, I have plenty of other stuff to do in Decentraland, as you all know. So the other two candidates are also really qualified and great.
Thank you, Carl. Mariana, final thoughts?
Carl, you took my words. I was gonna say the
Well, yeah,
same.
we've on the same page
Yes.
about a few things. Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I definitely think, yeah, both Carl and Mano bring great, experience from, the from like the last decade or almost decade in Decentraland. So I'd be happy to see either of them, and I think both of them would be able to hold accountability for the council. And yeah, I hope also, we can see more council presence in upcoming town halls. I hope we see some answers in, the DAO, Discord, and forum. Like, I think even like this call, and I know Carl, all of us, like, we all have things to do. We all have lives with different
Yep.
jobs. So like, the Decentraland, yeah, it's just like, we're here because we're passionate about it. We really want to see it succeed. But yeah, I think this conversation is from like a community perspective, like, or for me as a community member versus me as a council candidate. I'm kind of actually starting to realize, like, maybe I need to also help keep the DAO council accountable too, like with these with risk asked and all the other current concerns. So I think we got to continue this conversation, not just like as candidates, but like we got to push the council and OPCO and upcoming, correspondence for what is the current status of the council. Because to be honest, I don't want to walk into a messy council either. Like, it'd be. I think it's.
I hear you.
Yeah, right. Like, it's important that we, like, of course, do our best to like bring the best, maybe project management or ideas to the council, but. Yeah, I don't want to be a part of something that if I'm not going to help the council be accountable, then I also don't want to be a part of it, because like I don't want to get lost in their unaccountability or whatever. So I think it's important that we get these current pending issues addressed first also, and I think that should go for all three of us. Like, I think we gotta make sure we're walking into something that's pretty well structured, and if not, then I think the fifth person entering this council, there's going to be a lot of scrutiny by the community and the DAO community as a whole. Like, I think there's going to be like a bigger lens on this council, and I think it's going to be very important for whoever joins to help bring that accountability and comfort between the community and then the OPCO. So it's going to be a very big challenge, and it's a very big responsibility. So, and I mean, all three of us can do it, obviously, but I think we gotta. There's a lot more conversations that need to happen before any of us three join this council, and it's going to be interesting how our communication and our accountability plays out. So, sorry for the long-winded thought, but I think that we're in a very crucial part, and I just want to address that. It's gonna be very important. So
thank you. And of course we have Mono, any final thoughts, comments?
Okay, I'm gonna keep it short. First, I wanted to thank you, Sinful and Toxico, for having us here, and the other candidates for coming here and discussing all these topics. And well, if I'm elected, I hope that I can make a dent and that I can bring something with my experience to the community, to the DAO, and I hope I can bring some transparency and some accountability that and live up to the expectations of the community for this role. Nothing else.
Thank you, Mono. It was very nice meeting you tonight, and I really appreciate you coming on the show. And I do want to even extend the invitation, maybe on a future date, on a future Monday, have you on Beyond the NFT, just to kind of just to get to know you and and your work within Decentraland. I feel like we lightly glossed over a lot of things that could have been really kind of touched on. So definitely want to extend that invitation for the future. And
sure, I would love to.
yeah, and I mean, same goes to Carl, because I haven't had Carl on one-on-one just yet either. And I feel like this has been a long time coming. We've known each other for a while now.
Thanks.
All right, and I'll pass it over to Toxic for any final thoughts.
Yeah, my final thoughts are, I just want to say thank you to Carl, Mariana, and Mono T for being here today. We invited them through the forum, and I just want to say it's much appreciated, and I wish you all much luck in the process. For the in-world users, the voting period goes for roughly 1 more week, so please go into the forum, set your vote. Even if you don't have much voting power, it's important for us to be part of this. If you're on the Decentraland, you are part of the DAO, and we should all make our voices being heard. Thank you.
And what positive words to end off tonight's show. Thank you, Toxic, for backing me up today. You have been my rock for tonight, for this episode here tonight, through gathering questions to I believe you were even the producer. I would consider you the producer of this event as well as the co-host. Thank you for the time you put in, Toxic, and I want to thank every single one of you that came out in world or on Twitch. I do see that on Twitch we have about 6 to 8 viewers. Really happy to see you all, as well as even on YouTube, Twitch. I said Twitch, YouTube, Kick, and X. And we're also streaming on Party, so hello out there in the Party world. So everyone, make sure to tune in next week for another episode of Beyond the NFT. I'm working on getting a guest that goes by the name of Dre the Noid. Let's see if we can lock him in for next week. I'm hoping that if I said it out loud, it might happen. All right, thank you everyone. Take care, and I will play some music for the rest of the evening while we just hang out. Have a great evening. Take care.
Bye guys. Take care.
Thank you.